Armed with nothing but a 12-pound hammer and gunny sacks, the Buffalo Soldiers embarked on an extraordinary mission. They toiled through rain-soaked days and bone-chilling nights, battling treacherous lava fields and thick fog. Despite the harsh conditions, their unwavering determination and perseverance carved a path where none existed before, to the summit of Mauna Loa Volcano.
After the Civil War, the African American soldiers that had fought for the U.S. were retained in the Army, and they were put into 4 different units: the 9th and 10th Cavalry, and the 24th and 25th Infantry.
The Buffalo Soldiers' primary mission was to control the Indians in the plains in the Southwest, but they did have numerous other responsibilities, like escorting stagecoaches, building roads, installing telegraph lines, and fighting in several different wars, like the Indian Wars, the Spanish-American War, and the Philippine War.
They got the name Buffalo Soldiers from the American Indians, and there are several possibilities for why they were named that. But the name symbolized the Native Americans' respect for the Buffalo Soldiers, their bravery and valor on the battlefield. Buffalo Soldiers, down through the years, have worn that name with pride.
The dawn of the 20th century witnessed a convergence of interests that sets the stage for a monumental undertaking: the construction of a new route directly linking Kīlauea and the summit of Mauna Loa.
A pivotal moment arose in 1912 when Thomas Jaggar was appointed as the director to the newly established Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. Jaggar quickly realized that there was a need for geologists to reach the summit of Mauna Loa and to build a trail to the 13,000-foot elevation. Thomas Jaggar was determined to get his trail built. He found an ally in Lauren A. Thurston. Thurston was a businessman who owned shares in the Volcano House. He saw the trail as a great way to increase tourism to the area. So together, Thurston, Jaggar, and local businessmen pooled their resources together to build the trail.
The Army commanders at Schofield Barracks from the neighboring island of Oahu were approached by members of the Mauna Loa Trail Committee and asked if a company of soldiers would be willing to build the trail. Company E of 25th Infantry Regiment, under the command of C. Bates, volunteered. They did the work as part of their vacation, not on official duty.
In 1913, the 25th Infantry came to Hawaii from Washington State, where they had been stationed since their return from the Philippines in 1909. They arrived in Honolulu Harbor in January, and the regiment consisted of about 850 men and officers. Their daily life at Schofield Barracks consisted of target practice and other training duties. In Hawaii, they were racially segregated just like everywhere else. However, they felt more comfortable due to the multicultural society they found here. And they participated in local parades and baseball games, and actually their team became pretty popular. It was called the Wreckers, and they were highlighted in a lot of different newspaper articles. In 1915, they came to Hawaii Island in October, where they constructed a trail all the way up to the summit of Mauna Loa.
Base camp for the soldiers was right here, a large flat area below the old Volcano House. It was named Camp Filoon in honor of the lieutenant who came over here and did the survey for the trail. 2 other camps, work camps, were established along the route of the trail. The first was at 6,500-foot elevation. It was called Camp Bates in honor of their captain. The third camp was at Red Hill, an elevation of 10,000 feet. Now, the Red Hill crater was above the tree line, so there were just some ohelo bushes and a few silversword plants. But there was nothing to cut down to make fire, and so kerosene was used for cooking. For water, there was a seep that ran water through the crater at Red Hill and was caught into some large cans and used for their drinking and cooking. The arrangement for the work was that Half the soldiers would stay here at base camp at any given time, and the other half would be working on the trail. This allowed the men some rest and recreation time while they were on the island.
Unearthing the identities of the soldiers who toiled on the historic Mauna Loa Trail proved to be a formidable challenge. While white officers' records were easily accessible, discovering the enlisted Buffalo soldiers required meticulous research. However, amid this quest, one soldier's remarkable story emerged: Private Lionel Chappell.
Lionel enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1912 as an infantryman and a machine gunner. He served in both the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments, and he was stationed at Camp Furlong, New Mexico, where my grandfather was born, Billy Chappell. Lionel was later sent to Schofield Barracks, and then later on to Hilo to help build the Mauna Loa Trail. The work on the trail was back-breaking work, and they had to haul the rocks down on their backs in sacks. It was not an easy job, but yet they returned back to the United States to segregation. So upon seeing the trail and walking the trail, there seemed to be somewhat of an emotional connection to my great-grandfather, because that is work that he had done as part of a military unit that had been preserved through the ages. And not only was it memorable because of that, but also the significance of walking that trail as a commissioned officer, which would have been an extreme rarity in his time, because the segregated units were primarily led almost exclusively by white officers. Looking back on that, I'm glad that I had that experience to visit the trail and to see the hard work that my great-grandfather and his fellow Buffalo soldiers put into building the trail.
On November 26, their monumental work came to an end. After 39 days, they had built between 26 and 27 miles of trail. The Hawaiian Gazette reported that the trail was marked and flagged, ensuring future hikers safe passage.
In November of 1916, 1 year after the completion of the Mauna Loa Trail, the Kīlauea military camp was completed. The purpose of the camp was to encourage soldiers to come and visit and spend their money in the area and encourage tourism. It was a testament to the work of Company E, who built the trail to Mauna Loa.
In March 1917, as the camp gained popularity, Companies A, G, H, and I of the 25th Infantry Regiment took turns visiting the Kīlauea military camp, each staying for about a week. During their time there, they embarked on unforgettable adventures guided by the knowledgeable Alexander Lancaster.
Alexander, or Alec, Lancaster was their guide. The soldiers had been assigned to him by Thomas Jaggar, head of the Volcano Observatory, and he took them around to all of the special sites at the summit area, from Devil's Throat down into Halemaʻumaʻu's lava lake. George Schuyler was a soldier with Company H, and later in life he became a renowned journalist. Well, Company H, George Schuyler's company, was able to assist Thomas Jaggar in some of his research. And what they did was they went down into the fire pit of Halemaʻumaʻu, the lava lake, with an iron pipe to measure the depth of that lake.
When that pipe came up, the lava on the end of it was thick like glue. George Schuyler. The legacy of the Buffalo Soldiers lives on, not only in the physical trail they blazed, but also in the inspiration they provided. Their trailblazing spirit, resilience, and unwavering commitment left an indelible mark on Hawaiian history. They motivate us to overcome obstacles and shape our own destinies.